Sir, for the last time, whose child is that?
Son. Why are you stopping us?
I told you we got a call. Said a black man was seen with a white kid who looked scared.
I wasn't scared. He's my dad.
Calm down, son. I just need to make sure.
You don't need to make sure.
Don't turn this into something it's not.
Mine because I'm black. Then stop.
Officer Brent Malick had been with the Chicago Police Department for 5 years when he stopped a father and son walking home through a park and destroyed both their lives. He was 29 years old, responding to a call from a concerned citizen and convinced that the black man holding hands with a white 7-year-old must be a kidnapper. One Thursday afternoon in May, Marcus Washington was simply walking his adopted son Eli home from school through Lincoln Park when a stranger called 911. Despite Eli repeatedly screaming, "That's my dad," despite Washington having adoption papers in his backpack, despite neighbors vouching for them, Malick arrested Washington in front of his traumatized son. The arrest would cost the city $100,000, end Malick's career, and prove that for black fathers with white children, no amount of love or legal documentation is enough to overcome the assumption that something must be wrong. Before we continue, where are you watching from? If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button. Stories like these need to be shared, and your support helps us bring more truth to light. Lincoln Park stretches along Chicago's lakefront, a popular green space where families walk, kids play, joggers run the paths. It's considered safe, friendly, the kind of place where parents feel comfortable walking their children. It was 2:45 p.m. on a Thursday in May. The weather was beautiful, 78 degrees, sunny, light breeze. School had just let out, so the park had kids and parents heading home, people walking dogs, the usual afternoon crowd. Marcus Washington was 36 years old. He worked as an IT manager for a healthcare company downtown, a job he'd held for 8 years. Good salary, stable career, respected by his colleagues. He owned a small house 3 blocks from the park, a 2-bedroom bungalow he'd saved for years to buy. But the most important thing in Marcus's life wasn't his career or his house, it was his son Eli. Marcus had adopted Eli 3 years earlier, when Eli was 4 years old. The adoption process had been long and thorough. Background checks, home studies, interviews, financial reviews, parenting classes. Marcus had gone through 18 months of foster care placement before the adoption was finalized. The state of Illinois had vetted him completely and determined he was fit to be Eli's father. Eli's biological parents had lost custody due to severe neglect and drug addiction. The child had been removed from their home and placed in foster care. Marcus, who'd been approved as a foster parent, had taken in this scared, withdrawn 4-year-old who barely spoke and flinched at loud noises. It had taken time, months of patience, consistency, therapy, love. Slowly, Eli had begun to trust. He started smiling. He began calling Marcus dad without being prompted. He slept through the night. He felt safe. The adoption was finalized 2.5 years ago. Eli was legally, fully, completely Marcus's son. They were a family. The fact that Marcus was black and Eli was white was just a detail in their home. It didn't matter. They were father and son. They loved each other. That was all that mattered. But outside their home, people stared. Strangers asked if Marcus was babysitting. Store clerks watched them suspiciously. Other parents at Eli's school had initially assumed Marcus was a family friend, not the actual parent. Marcus had learned to carry Eli's adoption papers everywhere, in his wallet, in his car, on his phone, because he knew some people couldn't accept what they saw. That Thursday afternoon was routine. Marcus left work at 2 p.m. to pick up Eli from school. Eli's school was on the other side of Lincoln Park from their house. Marcus always walked through the park to get him. It was faster than driving around, and Eli loved the playground. He picked Eli up at 2:30. Eli had his blue backpack with dinosaurs on it, the one they'd picked out together at Target. They held hands as they walked into the park, Eli chattering excitedly about his day. He'd gotten a gold star in reading. His friend Tyler had brought Pokemon cards to recess. They were doing a science experiment tomorrow. Marcus listened, smiling, asking questions, being present. Just a dad, walking his son home from school, living their normal life. But someone watching from a park bench saw something different and decided to call 911. Do you think people who file false child abduction reports based on racial bias should face criminal prosecution? Drop your answer below. Patricia Henley was 63 years old, retired, and spent most afternoons sitting on a bench in Lincoln Park watching people. She told herself she was being vigilant. Really, she was judgmental and operating on biases she refused to examine. That afternoon, she noticed Marcus and Eli walking along the main path. Black man, white child, holding hands. The child had a backpack on, was talking animatedly, clearly comfortable. But in Patricia's mind, something felt wrong. She watched them for several minutes. Marcus and Eli were completely natural together. Marcus would occasionally kneel down to listen to something Eli was saying. Eli would skip ahead, then come back to grab his dad's hand. The body language was unmistakably that of a parent and child who loved each other. But Patricia's biased mind couldn't accept it. Black man with white child must be kidnapping. The child might look happy now, but that could be fear or Stockholm syndrome or manipulation. She pulled out her phone and called 911. I'm at Lincoln Park on the east side. There's a black man walking with a young white boy. The boy has a backpack. Something doesn't look right. I think the boy might be in danger. The dispatcher asked standard questions. Is the child crying? Trying to run away? No, but they're holding hands, and the man is black and the boy is white. It doesn't look right. Ma'am, interracial families exist. Are you seeing any actual signs of distress? I just don't think they belong together. The boy is too young to be with someone who looks like that. The dispatcher sighed but logged the call. Possible child welfare concern. Lincoln Park East Side near the fountain. Black male adult with white juvenile male. Caller expresses concern about relationship. Officer Brent Malick was 5 blocks away when he heard the call. Brent Malick had been with the Chicago Police Department for 5 years. In that time, he'd accumulated 8 complaints. 6 of them specifically involved questioning multiracial families, or families that didn't match his assumptions about what families should look like. A black mother with her biracial children at a grocery store, Malick had questioned her for 15 minutes, demanding proof they were hers. A Filipino grandfather with his white grandchildren at a park Malick called child services before verifying the relationship. An interracial couple with their adopted child Malick detained them in their car for 20 minutes running warrants. Malick had a pattern. He saw families that didn't match his narrow definition of normal and assumed something criminal was happening. 3 complaints had been sustained, resulting in written reprimands and mandatory training. 5 were closed without discipline. His supervisors had noted he struggles with recognizing diverse family structures, but those notes never translated into consequences. Malick remained on patrol. When Malick heard the dispatch, his mind immediately went to child abduction. This was serious. This could be a save. This could make him look like a hero. He arrived at the park at 2:51 p.m. He spotted Marcus and Eli immediately. They were about 100 yards from the park exit, heading toward the residential streets, completely unaware of what was about to happen. Malick got out of his patrol car and approached quickly on foot. Marcus saw the officer walking toward them with purpose and felt his stomach drop. He squeezed Eli's hand gently. Dad, is that policeman coming to us? Eli asked. I think so, buddy. It's okay, just stay close to me. The officer. Sir, for the last time, whose child is that? Marcus stopped walking, keeping Eli's hand in his. For the last time? You just walked up to us. This is my son. Is there a problem? He is my son. Why are you stopping us? I told you we got a call, said a black man was seen with a white kid who looked scared. Marcus felt rage and exhaustion wash over him. Not again. Not in front of Eli again. Scared? Look at him. Does he look scared? We're walking home from school. He's 7 years old. He's happy. Eli, sensing his dad's tension, pressed closer to Marcus's leg. I wasn't scared. He's my dad. Calm down, son. I just need to make sure. Marcus's voice was controlled but firm. You don't need to make sure. You just can't believe he's mine because I'm black. Don't turn this into something it's not. Marcus looked at his son's confused face, at the backpack with dinosaurs, at their clasped hands. His voice dropped, quiet and hurt. Then stop making it something it never was. This is where bias destroys families. Officer Malick had responded to a call about a black man with a white child. When he arrived, he saw exactly that. In his mind, interracial families were suspicious. A black man with a white child could only mean crime. The possibility that this was simply a father walking his son home from school never occurred to him. His biases wouldn't allow it. Should officers be required to recognize multiracial families as normal before intervening in family situations? Let me know what you think. Sir, I need to see identification, and I need to ask the child some questions separately. Marcus pulled out his wallet. My driver's license is right here. Eli's adoption papers are in his backpack. I carry them everywhere because of situations exactly like this. And you're not questioning my son separately. He's 7. You're scaring him. I'll decide what's necessary. Let me see your ID. Marcus handed over his driver's license. My address is on there. We live 3 blocks from here. We walk through this park every day. Ask anyone in the neighborhood, they know us. Malick looked at the license. Marcus Washington, address 3 blocks away. Everything looked legitimate, but in Malick's mind, IDs could be faked, addresses could be lies. That doesn't prove he's your son. The adoption papers are right here. Marcus reached for Eli's backpack. Don't reach for anything. Keep your hands where I can see them. Marcus froze. The papers are in the front pocket of his backpack. Official adoption documents from Cook County. They prove he's my son. I'll check that. Step back from the child. Step back? He's my son. I'm not stepping away from him. Sir, if you don't comply, I'll place you under arrest. Eli started crying. Dad? What's happening? Marcus knelt down, keeping his hands visible. It's okay, buddy. This officer doesn't understand that you're my son. But we're going to show him the papers and then we'll go home. He stood back up. Officer, please. You're traumatizing a 7-year-old. Just look at the papers. They're in his backpack. Front pocket. Official state documents with a seal and everything. Malick reached for Eli's backpack. Eli flinched away, gripping Marcus's leg tighter. It's okay, Marcus said gently. Let the officer look. Malick unzipped the front pocket and pulled out a manila folder. Inside were the official adoption papers, Illinois Department of Children and Family Services, finalization date, Marcus Washington listed as adoptive parent, Eli James Washington listed as child, judge's signature and seal. Malick looked at the documents. They were clearly official. Everything was in order. This was legitimate adoption. But instead of apologizing, instead of recognizing his mistake, Malick's suspicion deepened. These could be forged. Marcus stared at him in disbelief. Forged adoption papers? With a state seal? Are you serious? People fake documents all the time. Call the courthouse. Call child services. Verify it. But stop terrorizing my son. Turn around and put your hands behind your back. Marcus's eyes widened. You're arresting me? For walking my son home from school? You're being detained for investigation of possible child endangerment and custodial interference. Custodial interference? I have legal custody. The papers are right there. But Malick had made his decision. In his mind, this situation was suspicious. The papers could be fake. The calm explanations were manipulation. Everything confirmed his initial assumption something criminal was happening. Eli was sobbing now, clutching Marcus's leg. No, don't take my dad. Marcus looked at his terrified son. He looked at the growing crowd of park visitors watching. He made the hardest decision of his life. If he resisted, if he refused, this could turn violent. Eli could watch his dad get tased, beaten, shot. Marcus couldn't risk that. Not in front of his 7-year-old son who'd already been traumatized by his biological parents. Eli, listen to me, Marcus said, his voice shaking. I need you to be so brave right now. This police officer is making a big mistake. He doesn't understand that you're my son. But Mrs. Patterson is right over there. She knows us. She'll stay with you while I sort this out. Can you be brave for me? Eli shook his head frantically. No, I want you. I know, baby. I know. But I need you to trust me. Mrs. Patterson will take care of you, and I'll be back so soon. I promise. An elderly woman from the crowd stepped forward. Mrs. Patterson, their neighbor from 2 streets over who waved to them every day. Marcus, what's happening? This officer is arresting me. Can you stay with Eli? Please. Of course. This is insane. Everyone in the neighborhood knows you two. Marcus turned to Malick, his voice cold. I'm complying under protest. I am Marcus Washington. This is my legally adopted son, Eli James Washington. Our adoption was finalized on October 9th, 2022 by Judge Maria Rodriguez in Cook County. The papers you're holding prove legal custody. You are arresting me for being a black father walking my son home from school. Everyone here is witnessing this. Malick grabbed Marcus's arms and pulled them behind his back. The handcuffs clicked shut. Eli screamed, an actual scream of terror. Dad, no. Marcus's voice broke. It's okay, Eli. I love you. I'll be home soon. Stay with Mrs. Patterson. A man in the crowd called out, this is wrong. That's his son. Everyone in the neighborhood knows them. Another voice. They walk through here every day. This is racial profiling. Malick ignored everyone. He walked Marcus toward his patrol car, leaving Eli sobbing in Mrs. Patterson's arms, his dinosaur backpack still on his shoulders, his world falling apart. Why do people see interracial families and immediately assume something criminal is happening? Comment your thoughts. The drive to the station took 17 minutes. Marcus spent it trying not to think about Eli's screams, trying not to imagine the trauma this was causing, trying to stay calm so he could fix this quickly and get back to his son. They arrived at the station. Malick walked Marcus inside, still handcuffed, past the booking desk where a sergeant looked up with concern. Malick, what do you have? Possible child abduction. Black male with white juvenile. Papers look suspicious. Sergeant Antonio Garcia stood up. He was a 15-year veteran and the father of 2 adopted children himself. What kind of papers? Adoption papers. Claims the kid is his. Did you verify them? They could be forged. Marcus spoke clearly. Sergeant Garcia. My name is Marcus Washington. I adopted my son Eli 3 years ago through the Illinois foster care system. Our adoption was finalized in Cook County on October 9th, 2022. The papers Officer Malick is holding are official state documents. You can verify everything with one phone call to Cook County or DCFS. My son is 7 years old. He's with a neighbor right now, terrified. Officer Malick arrested me while we were walking home from school through the park. Garcia's expression darkened. Walking home from school? Through Lincoln Park. We do it every day. We live 3 blocks from the park. Garcia looked at the adoption papers Malick was holding. He took them and examined them closely. The seal was real. The judge's signature looked authentic. Everything about them appeared legitimate. Malick, these look real to me. Could be faked? Did you try to verify before you arrested him? I was securing the situation. Garcia picked up the phone and called the Cook County clerk's office. He gave them Marcus's information and Eli's information. The confirmation came back in 4 minutes. Adoption on record. Finalized October 9th, 2022. Marcus Washington listed as adoptive parent. No flags, no concerns. Legal custody granted. Garcia hung up and turned to Malick, fury in his voice. The adoption is legitimate. He's the legal parent. You just arrested a father for walking his son home from school. The caller said something looked wrong. The caller was wrong, and you didn't verify before you traumatized a child. Garcia unlocked the handcuffs himself. Mr. Washington, I am so sorry. This should never have happened. Marcus rubbed his wrists. Where's my son? Still in the park with a neighbor. I'll send a unit to bring him here immediately. No, I want to go get him myself. He's terrified. He needs to see me. Of course, I'll drive you personally. A captain arrived, Linda Morrison, a 20-year veteran who'd spent her career fighting against racial profiling in the department. Mr. Washington, I'm Captain Morrison. What happened today is inexcusable. Marcus's voice was controlled, but the pain was evident. Captain, I adopted my son legally. I'm raising him in a stable home. We walk through that park every single day. And Officer Malick arrested me in front of him because someone called 911 and said we looked wrong together. My son is 7 years old. He watched his father get handcuffed and taken away for no reason. Do you understand what that does to a child? Morrison turned to Malick. Badge and weapon, administrative leave. Now. Captain, I was responding to a 911 call. You arrested a father for being black with a white child. That's racial profiling. Give me your badge. Malick handed them over, confusion still on his face. Should officers face automatic termination for arrests that traumatize children based on racial profiling? Drop your answer. Sergeant Garcia drove Marcus back to the park. It had been 43 minutes since the arrest. 43 minutes that Eli had spent sobbing with a neighbor, believing his dad had been taken away. When Marcus got out of the police car, he saw Eli sitting on a bench with Mrs. Patterson. The moment Eli saw him, he ran. Marcus caught him, scooped him up, both of them crying, I'm here, buddy. I'm here. Dad's here. They took you? They said you weren't my dad? I am your dad. I will always be your dad. That officer made a terrible mistake. Are they going to take you again? Marcus's heart broke. No, baby. No. I'm not going anywhere. We're going home right now. Within hours, the story spread through their neighborhood. Mrs. Patterson told everyone what had happened. Other neighbors who'd witnessed the arrest posted on social media. Local news picked it up. Local father arrested in front of son while walking home from school. Black father handcuffed in park despite adoption papers proving he's the legal parent. 7-year-old watches dad arrested for being black in an interracial family. The outrage was immediate. The NAACP demanded accountability. Adoption rights organizations condemned the arrest. The Department of Justice opened an investigation. Marcus filed a lawsuit with the help of civil rights attorneys who took the case pro bono. The lawsuit named Officer Brent Malick, Patricia Henley, and the Chicago Police Department. The claims were extensive. Unlawful arrest without probable cause, false imprisonment, racial profiling and discrimination, violation of civil rights, failure to verify legal custody before removing parent from child, intentional infliction of emotional distress on both Marcus and his minor son, child endangerment by traumatizing a child with known trauma history. The evidence was overwhelming. Body camera footage, civilian videos, official adoption records, neighbor testimony, expert testimony about childhood trauma. The city settled within 8 months. $100,000 paid to Marcus and Eli. Officer Brent Malick was terminated 9 weeks after the incident. Officer Malick arrested a legal parent and traumatized a 7-year-old child based solely on racial bias. He refused to properly verify legal adoption documents, ignored witness testimony, and demonstrated a pattern of bias against multiracial families documented across 8 complaints. Employment terminated immediately. Malick's name entered the National Decertification Index, career over at 29. Patricia Henley was named in the lawsuit. Her identity became public. She issued an apology, but the damage was done. Marcus testified at a city council hearing with Eli beside him. "I'm not FBI. I'm not famous. I'm just a dad. I work in IT. I pay my taxes. I adopted my son legally, and I love him more than anything in this world. And Officer Malick arrested me in front of him because we're an interracial family." He paused, his arm around Eli. "My son has nightmares now. He wakes up crying, asking if police are going to take me away again. He asks me every day if I'm really his dad, if the adoption is real, if anyone can take him from me. He's 7 years old. His sense of safety has been destroyed." Another pause. "We were walking home from school through a park on a beautiful day, holding hands, and someone saw us and decided we couldn't be family because I'm black and he's white. And Officer Malick agreed without verifying a single fact. He didn't believe the adoption papers. He didn't listen to my son screaming. He just saw what his bias told him to see." He looked around the room. "I don't have a badge to protect me. I don't have federal authority. I'm just a regular black father trying to raise my son. And that almost got me arrested in front of him. If this can happen to me, what happens to every other multiracial family? What happens to every other adoptive parent who looks different from their child? Should people who file false child abduction reports face criminal prosecution? Drop your answer." The Chicago Police Department faced scrutiny over Malick's 8 complaints about multiracial families. Why hadn't they intervened earlier? Why was he still on patrol? Internal Affairs found systemic failures. Officers weren't trained to recognize diverse family structures. Complaints about bias against multiracial families weren't taken seriously. The department had no protocol for verifying adoptions before intervening. Officers operated on assumptions about what families should look like. Reforms were announced. Mandatory training on adoption, foster care, and multiracial families. Required verification with courts or DCFS before any custody intervention. Automatic desk duty for officers with 3 complaints involving family relationship assumptions. Partnership with adoption agencies for ongoing education. Marcus's testimony was powerful. "I chose to adopt because I wanted to be a father. I went through background checks, home studies, parenting classes, 18 months of foster care. I was approved by the state of Illinois, and none of that mattered to Officer Malick because he couldn't see past our skin colors." He paused. "Eli asked me if other people think I kidnapped him. He asks if police will come back. He asks if adoption means forever, or if someone can take him away. He's 7. He shouldn't have to wonder if his family is real." Another pause. "We deserve to exist. Interracial families deserve to walk home from school without being arrested. Adoptive families deserve to be believed. Black fathers deserve to be seen as fathers, not criminals." It's that simple. The room was silent. This wasn't about FBI credentials or federal authority. This was about an ordinary father who loved his son and was arrested for it because their skin colors didn't match someone's expectations. Marcus had adoption papers with official seals. His son screaming, "That's my dad." Neighbors vouching for them. Everything proving their legitimate family relationship. None of it mattered because Patricia Henley saw an interracial family and called 911. Because Officer Malick saw the same thing and decided she was right. Because both of them couldn't imagine that love crosses racial lines. This is how racism operates against families. It's the assumption that families must match racially. It's seeing a black parent with a white child and assuming crime. It's refusing to believe a child who says, "That's my dad," because the skin colors don't match expectations. And when that racism is backed by the authority to arrest, to separate parent from child, to traumatize a 7-year-old in public, it destroys families' sense of safety. Brent Malick's career is over. Patricia Henley's reputation is destroyed. The city paid $100,000. But money doesn't fix a child's trauma. It doesn't erase nightmares. It doesn't restore Eli's belief that his family is permanent. It doesn't give back the security he felt before, watching his dad handcuffed and taken away. The real question is, what changes now? Do people finally accept that families don't have to match racially? Do officers finally verify before traumatizing children? Do we finally acknowledge that love has no color requirement? Because if we don't fix the system that kept Malick on patrol despite 8 complaints, if we don't address the culture that taught Henley to see an interracial family and call 911, then we're just waiting for the next false report, the next traumatized child, the next family destroyed for the crime of loving each other. Comment if you believe this should be law. Filing false child abduction reports based on racial bias carries mandatory jail time. And if you think these stories need to be told, hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep exposing these patterns. We're going to keep demanding better. We're going to keep fighting for families who deserve to exist without being criminalized. This isn't just about one officer, one caller, or one family. It's about all of us and the world we're willing to accept.